Welcome to the Ladies Who Leverage podcast, where we empower women to connect authentically, build strategically, and live life unapologetically AF. It's time for women to embrace that they are powerful at their core and to leverage their expertise, resources, and relationships to build their business, their brand, and their badassery. I'm your host, Kelly Charles Collins, and we invite you to subscribe to the Ladies Who Leverage podcast. Our episodes drop every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So listen, enjoy, share, and subscribe. Welcome to the Ladies Who Leverage podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to talk to you about the Ladies Who Leverage Visionary Life magazine, which is going to launch on January 22nd, 2022. Yes, so right around the corner. And I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that this magazine is focused on helping female entrepreneurs really unleash their inner badass, build thriving businesses, and live life unapologetically AF. But really, if you are a woman or a business owner, you could benefit from the information in this magazine also. The magazine has inspirational stories, people, overcoming, people having ideas. Hey, have you ever done goat yoga or heard of goat yoga? Yeah, you'll find out how that idea came about. And eventually went viral. You'll learn about people relocating to pursue their dreams. There's stuff about fashion. So we have a fashion designer, Saber Mochaccino, who is going to talk to you about how to dress your body. And then there's all kinds of strategies to help you with social media, SEO, marketing, all kinds of stuff that will help you with your business. The whole goal of the Visionary Life magazine is to curate information that is going to be valuable, right? And provide you enlightened insights, practical advice, and also give you useful resources. We want to make sure that when you read this magazine, that it's addressing the whole woman. So it won't just be about business. You'll see all kinds of stuff in there, but I need you to go and subscribe so that you will see all of the amazing articles that are in there. You can go to lwlmagazine.com. That's where you can subscribe. And the other thing I want you to, I hope that you'll join me, is on January 15th, we're actually having a pre-launch party, and it's virtual. And we are going to unveil the inaugural cover for this January issue, and just talk about the magazine, the process, the why behind doing all of this, and just have a good time, just to celebrate the launch of the magazine. So if you want to join us for the celebration, all you need to do is go to lwllaunchparty.com. So January 22nd is when it officially drops. January 15th, you'll get to see the cover before everyone else if you join us for the party. So before we get into the episode, which we're going to do in just about a minute, I want you to get a piece of paper, because I know I just gave you 2 links, and I'm going to give you at least another one. So I'm going to, whatever you write on, your iPad, your iPhone, pen and paper, you're remarkable. I just got a remarkable 2 the other day. Whatever it is that you write on, I want you to go get that so that I can give you these links again. So countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here we go. If you want to subscribe, and I shouldn't say if, I'm just going to ask you, yes, please go subscribe. So to subscribe to the magazine, please go to lwlmagazine.com, lwlmagazine.com, and you can go and subscribe for free to the magazine so that every time it comes out quarterly, it'll just get sent to you. That's the first thing. Second, in the magazine, we offer you opportunities to advertise. So many of you have your own businesses, or perhaps you're not a woman, but you have a business that caters to women. That's your ideal target. Maybe you want to advertise in the magazine. So if you want to advertise in the magazine, then email me at info@ladieswholeverage.com. So email Kelly at info@ladieswholeverage.com to advertise in the magazine. 3rd. If you would like to join us for our celebration on January 15th, it'll be on Zoom, 5 p.m. Eastern, just about 90 minutes, so not very long. If you want to join us for the pre-launch party, then go to lwllaunchparty.com. That's lwllaunchparty.com. So those 3 links. And if if you have any problems, just look up LWL Launch Party. It should come up, or follow me on Instagram at kellycharlescollins.com or Ladies Who Leverage, and all of the information is there. The links are all in my bio. So we are going to jump into our new episode, which, our episodes drop every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So subscribe to the podcast so that you never, ever miss an episode. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Let's not waste another minute. And here we go. So welcome to the Ladies Who Leverage podcast. Again, this is your host, Kelly Charles Collins. And guess what? Today, you are my special guest. Yep, that's right. You are my special guest. Usually we have shows where I'm interviewing someone, but I thought that today I would just talk to you and share with you. We're in the beginning of the year, and so many of us are thinking about our businesses, thinking about our lives, our goals, our dreams. And one of the things that I think is so important, right? It is critical in order for us to even fulfill those dreams or execute on those dreams, is around leadership. And what kind of leader are we being? So, our own personal leadership. And I had talked about this before on a live on social media, and I wanted to bring it back because I think it's so important. And I wanted to talk about it on this podcast. And, as I was thinking about personal leadership, obviously, there's many books, there's, people have lots of things to say about personal leadership. And one of the definitions that I found, and forgive me, I don't remember what it was, but it says that personal leadership is the self-confident ability to crystallize your thinking and establish an exact direction for your own life, to commit yourself to moving in that direction, and then to take determined action to acquire, accomplish, or become whatever you identify as the ultimate goal in your life. When I read that, I was like, yes, this is spot on. This is like everything that I believe in. It's about having a vision. It's about being committed to that vision and being very clear about what that vision is, then putting a plan into place. If you've heard me before, I talk about, reverse engineering, right? Beginning with the end in mind, which is your vision, and then reverse engineering so that you can put a plan in place, and then taking very intentional and strategic action to ensure that you execute, right, on that goal. So, it's not about just putting it up on a pretty board or any of those types of things. It is really about, being able to visualize it. And some people are very visual, right? So they need to have it, on a vision board, or they need to, cut out pictures or whatever so that it becomes real to them. However, that's only the beginning, right? We have to then figure out, well, how the heck are we going to get there? If I want this beautiful house or boat or, mansion or great vacation or, designer bags, whatever the heck we want, shoes, whatever we want, right? Just putting the picture on the wall is not going to get it. We got to figure out how we're going to get that, right? What is the plan that we have in place? And then we got to take that action to go get it. So as we talk about leadership today, I want to talk to you about 14 traits that I think are important, or I don't know if they're traits or just 14 things that I think are really important in order for you to be a great leader. And I want to start with, before we get into those 14 things, I do want to talk about the word leadership, right? Because people talk about leadership and they talk about it as this, it's like the process of social influence. This is one of the definitions I saw. A process of social influence, which maximizes the efforts of others towards the achievement of a goal, right? Leading people, right? Having people follow you, really inspiring people to do well and to be at their best and to live beyond their potential. That's what I think about in terms of leadership. And then when you think about the word leader, many people think that leader is relegated to somebody who has the title of, CEO or executive, or, being in what is, as the leadership team. Some people think of it as somebody who is in a managerial position or a supervisory role. And sometimes those two things, managers and supervisors, are actually different, right, from somebody being a leader. But I'd like you to think about leader in a more expansive way and understand that any and everybody is a leader. Titles don't make you a leader, right? A leader is somebody who is able to have people follow you. A leader has authority, right? So a leader is somebody who can get people to follow along. They said, if you're a leader and you don't have any followers, then you're just out for a walk, right? That's a quote that I heard, and it's not mine, but I thought that was really interesting, right? That if you can't make people work together towards a common goal, and you can't get people to do things, you're not a leader. And if you can't get yourself to do something, then you're not a leader, right? You're not standing in your own personal leadership. And this is something that I had to personally look at myself, over the past year, and whether or not I was standing in my own leadership. And as the leader of Ladies Who Leverage, as the founder of Ladies Who Leverage, I had to look at myself and think about whether or not I actually was standing in my own leadership. And I wasn't, right? I was not doing all of the things that I needed to do in order to be at that level where people, obviously had all the women and ladies who leverage. But when I think about myself and where I could be and where I should be in terms of being that leader, right, and really embracing that process of being able to be an influence and an influencer, and to maximize the effort of other people so that they could be working towards the achievement of a goal, I was falling short, right? And I had to be honest about that and really start to think about that. And I think we all have to do that. We all have to be very honest about that. So whether we are entrepreneurs who own our own businesses, or we are, in leadership, right, quote unquote leadership in a corporation, or we are an employee in an organization, we all have to look at ourselves as whether or not we are standing in our leadership in our homes, right? So even if you don't work outside the home, are you being a leader inside of that home? And like I said, it's not leadership, and leaders it's not because of a title that makes you that, right? So, when I was thinking about this whole thing about personal leadership, one of the things that came to me was this, the notion that the same things that make a business successful, right? The same things around having a compelling vision, about developing strategies and inspiring people to use their talents to meet a goal so that you can have these, great business results, are the same things that we need to apply to ourselves. It's the same thing, right? Business principles apply to our personal lives and our personal relationships. And so, in Ladies Who Leverage, what we are doing is talking about what I call the BYBB Effect, right? BYBB. And that means for Build Your Business Badassery. And the reason that I wanted to focus on this with Ladies Who Leverage is that I've always thought about, what is it that we do in Ladies Who Leverage? How is it that we benefit the women in Ladies Who Leverage? And I'm always talking to them about their mission and their vision and power and presence and being strategic and intentional and execution. And I was like, what is that? What is this whole thing about? And it is really about building your business badassery. And part of that is around leadership. So when you talk about building your business badassery, there's really that badassery aspect of it really has 5 elements. The first is beliefs. The second is boundaries. The third is brand. The fourth is bag, your money, you know what I'm talking about? And then the fifth is being. And when we talk about being, that's where leadership comes in. Leadership and execution, that's where it comes into place. And so as we talk about the traits today the 14 traits, I want you to think about, building your business badassery and what that means for you. So many of us, have coaches and mentors, and we invest in classes. And what I wanted to do for the women and ladies who leverage is to make sure that we were addressing the whole woman. And so that's why we start with beliefs and we end with being, right? It's what do you believe about yourself and how are you showing up in the world? And in between all of that, what are the things that you need to do? Set your boundaries, right, around your mission and vision. How are you showing up in the world, power and presence around brand, and what are you doing to get that money, right? Because we're all working to get money. So as we go through this, you'll hear some of those. I'm going to focus on being today around leadership and execution, but you also hear some of the traits will fall into some of these other areas around beliefs, boundaries, brand, ear bag, right? You'll hear them. So let's get into these 14 so that we can get through it and get you on your way. But I'm so glad that you're here with me today. So the first one is that I think that I believe that you have to be powerful at your core. People hear me say this all the time, that I am powerful at my core. And what that means to me is that I have an unwavering belief in myself. And as a leader, you have to have that same unwavering belief. Now, does it mean that you don't get scared or nervous, or you don't sometimes think, am I the right person, or can I do that? No, it doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is that whenever you start to have those little types of feelings, those types of doubts, that you are powerful enough at your core that you can bring yourself back into alignment. I used to years ago, I used to compete in fitness bikini competitions. And one of the things that my coach made sure, my trainer made sure that I did, was to always make sure that my core was powerful and that it was strong. And people tell you that all the time, right? Make sure that your core is powerful, because your core is what keeps you in alignment. It doesn't mean that, you can't have muscles everywhere else in your body, but if your stomach muscles are weak, that's an issue, right? Because it is the center. And so when I talk about being powerful at your core, for me, that's what I remember about being very strong, right? Having very strong abs so that I was able to hold myself in alignment when I was doing anything. So any type of exercises or anything. So when we talk about being powerful at your core in terms of leadership, what I'm talking about is your belief in yourself. And I know sometimes people think about, what other people think, right? And what other people believe about you, or whether other people believe in you. And I want you to stop thinking about that. What other people think about you, one, is not your business. But two, people's belief in you will waver, right? They may believe in you today and not believe in you tomorrow. If you are hanging your hat and your life and your goals on what other people believe about you, then you have given them control over your life, because it will change. And so you're always waiting to see, okay, well, do they believe in me? Okay, they don't believe in me. They don't believe I can do that. Then you're not going to do it. Who cares? It's what you believe. The only thing that's important is what you believe. If they believe in you, that's a bonus. But again, their belief can change. Yours can too. But if you really have an unwavering belief, if you understand who you are in this world, then you'll become powerful at your core. And I want you to keep saying that I am powerful at my core. So that's the first thing. Second, you need to have a positive mindset, right? So think about whether or not you are going to operate from being a victor or a victim, whether you're going to be positive or you're going to be negative. This is very important. You always hear people talk about mindset. Mindset is, you got to get your mind right. If your mind is not right, you will never be able to accomplish anything. I don't care what goals you put out into the world. I don't care how many times you write it down. I don't care how many plans you make. I don't care how many classes you take. I don't care how many coaches you hire. If your mindset is not right, and if you don't have a positive mindset, you're not going to get anywhere. And if you don't have a positive mindset as a leader of people, they're not going to follow you. They will rebel against you. Right? So you got to make sure that you have a positive mindset. 3, you must have vision. Leaders must have vision. You must be able to begin with the end in mind. You must be able to look out into the world. What is your vision, right? What does your life look like, feel like, smell like, taste like? All of that stuff, because that is what is going to create the boundaries. We talk about in the BYBB Effect, right? We talk about one of the B's being boundaries. That is around your vision and your mission. Because when you decide, right, when you come up with your vision and you make it plain and clear, it is what sets the boundaries for your life, because it's what you will accept and what you won't accept. Because if it doesn't fit within what your vision is, then it's out of alignment. And if it's out of alignment, then it should be nowhere around you, right? So you have to have the vision. And also, when you're leading other people, you have to have vision, right? So that they have something to work towards. But as we're talking about in terms of your own personal leadership, you have to have a vision for your life, a vision for your business, a vision for your personal life, a vision for you as a career person, right? You really have to have that level of foresight to be able to understand, okay, this is what I'm working towards. Your vision is the end. It's not where you are. It's not, it's not the beginning. The vision is the end. And that's why Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. That is your vision. So that's number 3. Number 4, you must understand your purpose. So I think about purpose as being that thing that constantly calls you back. When you start to do something over here and we went and got that job and you're sitting in that job and you're just like, oh, I know I'm destined for something more. I know I shouldn't be here, which is what happened to me, right? At the end of my career as a lawyer, I started to think, oh, I'm destined for more than this. And I know that for me, my purpose is to be the light for others to stand in their greatness. Right. And as I would sit in hours of depositions and sit in mediations and, be constricted by rules and all these other things, I just kept thinking, this is not my purpose. This is not why I'm here. I am destined for more than this. And in order for me to be and to live truly in my purpose, I needed to be somewhere else, right? I needed to be out on my own. And so you have to understand what your purpose is, because if you don't understand your purpose, you will go out and do any and everything because you don't have anything that's guiding your life. I think it's Japan, they talk about the ikigai. You can go look it up, Ikigai, right? And it talks about your purpose for your life. So understanding your purpose, that will also help you with creating the vision. The reason sometimes people can't create the vision and make it as clear as it should be is because they don't even know why. Why would I be doing this? What is my purpose in life? So your purpose is your why. So first, powerful at your core. Second, have a positive mindset. Third, you must have vision. 4, you must understand your purpose. And then 5, you must be forward looking. So you have to be able to see the value and opportunities that are being presented to you. So this is different from vision, right? Vision is you creating what the world looks like, what your world looks like. Forward looking is that inside of that vision and understanding your purpose, that you have to be able to see the value in the opportunities that are being presented to you and to take the decisive action that is necessary for you to take advantage of those opportunities. You have to be able to see it. You have to see the value, because sometimes what happens to us is that people come to us with opportunities and we're just like, oh, man, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't know about that. That don't seem like anything. He or she, I don't know, they're not doing anything, or I don't know who they think they are, because you are so busy lacking in the ability to look forward. And also some of that comes from a lack of vision, because you don't even know where you're going, that things that show up in your lap and show up in your space that actually will help you to get there, you have no ability to assess whether or not that is a valuable opportunity, because you don't even know where you're going. So you can't be forward looking. because all you're doing is looking at where you are right now. Where you are right now is not where you want to be, and you don't even know where you want to be. And because you don't know where you want to be, what's coming to you, you can't understand how that would help you to get further in your life. So you have to be forward looking. Number 6, you have to have internal integrity. That means be true to yourself and be true to your word, right? So when we talk about, the BYBB Effect and we talk about brand, this is part of it, right? What is internal integrity? What does it mean to show up and show out? That means that you show up as your authentic self and be true to yourself and your word. Your character and integrity are all that you have, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm this. I don't care about any of those things. If people can't believe what comes out of your mouth, you're doomed. Yep, I said that. If they cannot believe what comes out of your mouth, you're doomed. So you have to have internal integrity. You have to know when things are happening around you or when you are saying something that is out of integrity, out of alignment. And you must stay true to yourself and true to your word. Because if you don't, people will not trust you, and they will not, though you won't even need to worry about being forward looking, because you know why? People won't even bring opportunities to you. So you won't even have the ability to assess whether or not those opportunities are valuable because they don't trust you. So they're not going to bring anything to you. So you must have internal integrity. Number 7, you need to be strategic and intentional. Because here's the whole thing. When you're going after your bag, right, your money, you have to understand that success is a long game, and we're not after the quick fix, right? And I know money loves speed. That's not the same thing as understanding that you need to be strategic and intentional, because even in that speed, people who are doing things quickly are still doing it with strategy and intention, right? And success takes work. Success is not linear. Life is not linear. Like I talk about in my book, Unapologetic AF, 34 Ways to Unleash Your Inner Badass, I talk about having to take the detour. I've had to take many detours in my life, right? I was in college and got pregnant at 20. Yep, had to take a detour. But what was that detour? Just meant that I couldn't just freely go through school. I had to make sure that I continued to work full time. I went to school full time. When I didn't have a babysitter, I took my son to work, put him under my desk, right? That was a detour. When I decided that after all of that and having my son, I was going to go to law school in California, but we lived in Florida and my son was just a little over a year old, I had to take a detour. And what was that detour? That I went off to law school in California and left my son to be raised by my mom and my sister, because success takes work. You have to be strategic about it, right? Did I want to do that? No. But was it the strategic and thing to do? Because I understood in my leadership as a mom that being a lawyer would be able to help provide a better life for my son. Yes. So you have to understand, right? I had that vision, right? The vision was to become a lawyer, and I knew the things that I had to put in place, and I had to be forward looking. So when the opportunity came to me that I was accepted into law school, I had to see the value in that. And I had to take decisive action because I had to hurry up and say if I was going to go or not, right? So that I could take advantage of the opportunity. And it wasn't easy, but that's what I had to do. But had I not had the vision, had I not understood what the value was in being able to have family like my mother and my sister who would take great care of my son while I was away, right? And then to go to law school and be very strategic so that I could graduate in 2.5 years instead of 3, and be very intentional about what I was doing and the classes that I took, and the things that I was involved in, the internships that I had, because I knew I wanted to be a public defender. So I interned at 2 public defenders' offices and the death penalty appeals office. All of that was very strategic and intentional. That was me being a leader, right? And so think about the things that you're doing and the things that you're not doing that are impacting you being a leader. The 8th thing is the courage to overcome, to persist and persevere, and to course correct, right? So we always talk about persistence and perseverance, and those things are very, very important. But I also think the ability to course correct is huge. And what do I mean by course correct? I mean, when ish is not going right, stop it and go do something else. right? So many times, we always hear finish what you start. I don't think you need to finish what you start, because sometimes what you started is not the thing that needs to be finished. Now, you might need to finish, but you need to understand that what you started may not be the right road. And so you need to go down the other road. And when you find the right road, then you finish the journey on that road. But don't get stuck with being, oh, well, I started this, so I have to ride it till the wheels fall off. No, you don't. I was just mentioning my book, Unapologetic AF. Listen, that book came about after I wrote a whole nother book. I wrote an entire book, sent it to the editor. It was there. I was getting ready to, do all the things to be able to print it. And then, talked to my sister and we were like, yeah, no, that's not the book that needs to go out into the world. So pull it back. And I called the editor and the publisher and said, yeah, we're not doing that book. Right. And then I ended up writing Unapologetic AF, which is the book that I wanted to write and that needed to be written at this time. Right. So don't ever get to the point that you believe that, oh my God, people, what are people going to think? I didn't care what anybody thought about me pulling that book back, because I had told people, oh, I wrote the book and it's with the editor and all that stuff. And then I wrote and told them, yep, pulled it back from the editor. I don't care. Right. So part of being a leader is being able to course correct in the middle of what's happening and understand the value in being able to stop the train from going off the tracks and right the course of that train and put it on the right set of tracks. Right. And being able to finish that journey, not the journey that you started just because people said, finish what you start. The nice thing is that you need to be committed to take the lead in your own life. What I mean by that is taking the necessary steps, the necessary actions to fulfill your vision. Whatever that vision is that you've created, what are the things that you need to do? What are the action steps that you need to take to live the life that you claim that you want? Because here's the thing. Nobody is going to drag you to your success. And even if they do it for a little while, because I'm a good dragger, right? And I am always trying to help everybody. But at some point, even me, who wants to help everybody in the world, gets tired of it. And we're not dragging you to your success. So as a leader, you have to be responsible and accountable to yourself for doing the things that are necessary to achieve the goals in your life so that you can live the life that you claim you want, right? A lot of us talk about the things that we want and where we want to get to and how much money we want to make and what kind of car we want to drive and vacations and we see all the stuff on social media and we want. We want all of it, but we are not willing to do the work, to sacrifice, to take the risks, to take the losses, right? Or the lessons, right? That come with all of that because we don't want to do that. Well, being a leader requires you to do all of that. You have to take the lead and you have to want it more than anyone else. People can't want your success for you more than you do. So if you're expecting somebody to drag you to your success, good luck. They may do it for a little while, but honey, they're not going to continue. So you have to be committed to take the lead. So that's number 9. So let's go back, just a quick recap before we go to the last 5. So 1, you have to be powerful at your core. 2, you need to have a positive mindset. 3, you have to have vision. 4, you must understand your purpose. 5, you must be forward looking. 6, you have to have internal integrity. 7, you need to be strategic and intentional. 8, you must have the courage to overcome, persist, persevere, and importantly, be able to course correct. 9, you must be committed to take the lead in your own life. And 10, you must be able to manage your energy. So energy is transferable, right? And people always talk about, a lot of people say, I match energy. So if you are a person who is, positive, people may match your energy as positive. Now, we all know people who are very positive. We know people who are very negative. We know people who are competitive or people who are very abundant in their thinking, or those who think from a scarcity mindset, those who are jealous, those who are greedy. We know the people who have all of these types of traits. And we also know which of those traits we have. We also know, how do we show up in the world? Are we showing up in the way that we believe that we should? And are people perceiving us in that same way? Because if you're not able to manage your energy in the way that you think that you are showing up in the world, then the people who are energy matchers are going to match your energy. Right. And so if you think that you're this positive person, but what really people see is that you are, a person who thinks out of jealousy or scarcity, or you're greedy, that's what many people are going to do, is match you at that energy level, right? And that is going to derail you. So as a leader, you need to be mindful of how you're showing up every day. Now, listen, we're not going out there being nice every day and smiling and happy and all that stuff. I'm not silly enough to even think that. There are days when I am downright pissed off, have an attitude, bad attitude, mad about something, whatever, right? And so those days, I try to ensure that I try to manage my energy. And when I know that I can't manage my energy, when I find that I'm just so frustrated, or I'm so mad, or I'm just whatever it is, and it's not positive, then I make sure that I remove myself or don't put myself in situations where other people have to encounter that. Now, unfortunately, sometimes people just get it, right? I mean, you can't insulate yourself all the time, and it doesn't always work, and none of us is perfect. But it's really, really important for us to understand that as a leader, right, and over your personal leadership, that you need to be able to manage your energy. 11, you need to have your right tribe. You need to surround yourself with the right people. I'm not talking about yes people. I'm not talking about people who think that everything you do under the sun is the best thing that has ever happened to this world. I'm talking about people who love you, care for you, respect you, and will tell you, cheer you on when you're doing well, but correct you when you need to be corrected, to understand what your vision is and know that when you're out of alignment, and to say you're out of alignment. Listen, the women and ladies who leverage know, I really pay attention to them. I pay attention to what they're working on. I pay attention to what they tell me their vision is. I pay attention to their brands. I pay attention to who they're being in the world. And if I see something, like if they post something on social media and I think it's out of alignment with their brand, or out of alignment with their being or whatever, I will text them or I'll call them and I'll just say, what do you think about that? Right? Because I care about them and I'm part of their tribe. They're part of my tribe. And so if I care about them, I should want them to show up in their best light. And so if I want them to show up in their best light, I can't look at something and just be like, she shouldn't have posted that, or that's kind of out of alignment for her, and then just let it go. No, that's not how that goes, right? So you need to make sure that you have the right people around you. And you don't want like negative naysayers. Like you don't want people around you that every time you come up with an idea, every time that you say something, they're like, ugh, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Nah, well, I don't think you could do that. I don't even think that you have enough experience, or that little job you have, or that little business you have over there. People who are just constantly negative, because understand that many of those people, it has nothing to do with you. It is about them and their lack of ability, right? And the fact that they can't accomplish those things and they are putting that on you, has nothing to do with you. And so you don't want negative naysayers. You don't want yes people. What you want are people who really care about you and care about how you show up in the world and how people perceive you, right? So some people might say, well, I thought you said, don't worry about what people think about you. Don't. What other people think about you is not your business, but it is instructive as to whether or not you are showing up in the world as how you believe you are showing up in the world. Because if you're not showing up the way that you believe, it is going to hamper your ability to get to the things that you want. It is going to hamper your ability to fully execute on your vision. Okay, so that's why it's important. Number 12, you need to be resourceful. So that means you have to have the ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties, or to find the stuff that you need, whether it's people, whether it's, so I always say, whether it's expertise, resources, or relationships. What do you need in order to get to that vision? What do you need to be able to live in your purpose, right? And so you have to be resourceful, and sometimes things come up. and you're going to have to course correct. And if you have to course correct, you might have to think very quickly about how am I going to change that around, right? So we're having a launch party. We're having a party for our magazine, and it was scheduled to be in person. When I started this journey as being a professional speaker, COVID, same thing around the party, COVID, right? COVID came into, so many people had to figure, oh, Lord, what am I going to do? We had to be resourceful, right? So many professional speakers had to become virtual professional speakers and understand how to do that. Luckily for me, I had already been doing that, so it wasn't as hard for me. But people had to get very resourceful. With COVID, I had to change the in-person party to a virtual party, right? You just have to be resourceful. You have to think. You can't just give up, right? You have to just be able to quickly think about what are the alternatives to being able to do the things that I need to do. I have a challenge, I have a roadblock, I have some difficulty. Am I just going to go and hide under my sheets? No. I got to figure out a way to get around, over, through, under, however it's going to be, but this cannot stand in your way. And so your ability to be resourceful will help you to do that. And it is part of being a leader. Number 13, and we're almost done. We're in the home stretch. So number 13 is your ability to future pace. This is not the same thing as forward looking, and it's not the same thing as having vision. The ability to future pace is to imagine something in your life that's possible in the future. What is available to you out there, right? It is about possibility. And so I think about in Ladies Who Leverage that I want the women and the women that I mentor to live beyond their potential, right? Because we're always telling people to live up to their potential. No, live beyond your potential, like to future pace, to understand what is out there in the world, what is possible. When you can future pace, right, and you understand what is possible, what is available to you, that will also help to guide what is your vision. Because your vision is made up of things that I call gritty goals, right? What is gritty goals are what are game changing, reasonable, intentional, time-based, tangible, and something you have a yearning for. So when you are able to visualize what's out there in the world and then create the vision that's in alignment with your purpose so that you can be very strategic and intentional when opportunities come your way about whether or not those are in alignment with your vision for your life, that is true leadership. That is about being a true leader. And then the last one is 14, which is my motto, one of my mottos for life. I have a few of them, but one of the things that I always talk about, and this, I want to go back just to, because it's kind of in line with self-preservation, but talking about powerful at your core, you'll always hear me say that I belong everywhere I am, but I don't belong everywhere. And that is about understanding my true value and the fact that if I am somewhere, I absolutely belong there, that there's no question. I don't have a question. Other people might, but I don't have a question. And the other half of it about, but I don't belong everywhere is also understanding my value and that everybody doesn't deserve my presence. So maybe I'll talk about that another time, but I wanted to make sure that you understood that's part of being powerful at your core. But number 14 is self-preservation. And I always say this about my life, that self-preservation is key. And I want to share with you a story, and it's actually, and also a poem that I wrote about this. But when I was, because I want you to know where this comes from. When I was graduating from college with my bachelor's degree, so this was in 1990, it was around my graduation day. My Aunt Kay, who unfortunately has passed away, but she was at my apartment and she pulled me aside and she said, you know, Kelly, you need to love yourself more than you love others. And I was like, what the hell is she talking about? I was like, why is she saying this to me? Right. I mean, I was 20 years old and it didn't click. I had no idea why she was saying that to me, or really the value in what she was saying to me. And, but several years later, then I got it, right? I truly understood what she meant by that. And what she was saying to me is that I can only truly give others what I give myself. And it was this whole idea of self-preservation. And, lately I've heard people talking about this in another way in terms of like pouring from the overflow, like giving people the overflow, as opposed to, people say don't pour from an empty cup, or how you pour from your cup, right? Is pouring from giving people from the overflow. So the overflow is after you have really embraced this whole idea about self-preservation and truly giving to others what you give to yourself. So I wrote this poem. Every now and then I write poems. I'm not a poet, but every now and then I write a poem. And so I wrote this whole thing about self-preservation. And it says, self-preservation. What is that, you say? The motto I try to live by every day. Self-preservation. What does that really mean? Isn't it selfish to put me first instead of the team? Self-preservation. Here's what it means: to protect myself from destruction or harm so I can fulfill my dreams. Self-preservation. Selfish, you say, but how could that be? The greatest gift I can give you is loving and protecting me. Self-preservation is key. And I believe that wholeheartedly, that I have to preserve myself, my space, my peace, all of me, so that I can then give that to others. And so we're going to end on that one, right? So that's the motto I live by. I wonder what your motto is, but those are the 14 things that I think are so, so very important. And as you go about, building your business badassery, if you're an entrepreneur, or just building, if you want to just say building your badassery as an individual and a leader, I want you to think about these 14 things. So quickly, I'm going to run through them, and then we are going to jump off our podcast for today. But the 14 things: be powerful at your core. Number 2, have a positive mindset. Number 3, you must have vision. Number 4, you must understand your purpose. 5, you need to be forward-looking. 6, you must have internal integrity. 7, you must be strategic and intentional. 8, you have to have the courage to overcome, be persistent, persevere, and importantly, course correct. Number 9, you must be committed to take the lead in your own life and take the actions that are necessary to achieve your vision. Number 10, you must be able to manage your energy. Remember, energy is transferable. Number 11, you need to have the right tribe. Surround yourself with the right people. Those are the people who are going to look out for you, and also includes your coaches, your mentors, your sponsors. Number 12, be resourceful. You have to be able to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties. Number 13, the ability to future pace, to see the possibilities. And number 14, self-preservation is key. And hey, listen, the bottom line is this, that if you can't lead yourself, you can't effectively lead other people, right? And so we want to make sure that we have this ability to really understand ourselves, to believe in ourselves. And that is how you are going to build your business badassery. And if you are a female entrepreneur and you want to learn more about building your business badassery, and you want to understand how we put these principles into play, right? How we make sure that you have the right beliefs, that you're setting those boundaries, that your brand is on point, that you're getting the bag, and you are being that powerful leader who does nothing but execute on your goals, then I would tell you to apply to the Ladies Who Leverage community. It's an exclusive global network and mentoring accelerator. We have some requirements around coming into it, but it's by application and invitation only, because we want to make sure that the right women are in that community. We protect that community. The women in there are badass female entrepreneurs in all walks of life. And so I want to make sure that as the leader, that I create safe and supportive ecosystems. And Ladies Who Leverage, our global network and mentoring accelerator, is one of those ecosystems. The other, as we talked about at the beginning, is the as I talked about earlier around our magazine, I mentioned our magazine. So the Ladies Who Leverage magazine is coming out in January 2022. So please make sure you subscribe to that. And the other part of our ecosystem is this amazing podcast. We've had some wonderful guests. So please go back and listen to some of the other interviews. I hope that you found today useful. Please take this into account as you go about your daily life, no matter where you are, whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee, a stay-at-home mom or dad, or, however you identify in this world. We love you all, and we want to make sure that everybody is standing in their own leadership. So thanks again for joining me today. Remember to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. And I would love to hear what you have to say about all of this. So again, we will see you next Monday at 9 a.m. And until then, unleash your badassery and live life unapologetically AF. Take care. Thank you for joining us. This podcast has been brought to you by Lady Lawyer Media. Make sure that you subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you are a female entrepreneur or business owner and you're looking for a safe, supportive ecosystem to create and share ideas and information, build a thriving business, and live life unapologetically AF, then I'd invite you to apply to Ladies Who Leverage. We're an exclusive community of badass female entrepreneurs. So if that sounds like you, go to www.lwlcollab.com. That's LWLCOLLAB as in boy.com so that you can apply to join us in our amazing badass network. And until then, I want you to unleash your badassery and live life unapologetically AF.